Okay, let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. We are right back in the thick of it with our ongoing, very intense personal music journey, the album quest.
That's right.
Now, for anyone new joining us, the idea here is pretty simple, but the execution, it's brutal. You take a massive music collection, randomize albums into groups of 4, listen back to back multiple times.
A whole album.
Exactly. And you have to rank them
Yeah.
first to fourth. Only the top 2 make it through. It's tough.
It really is. It's designed to test endurance, consistency, not just which songs you like best, but which album holds up under that kind of scrutiny.
And today we're diving into the results for round 2, group 16. This is where it gets really serious.
Absolutely, because every album here, it's already won a round. It's already proven itself against 3 others.
No easy beats left.
Nope. These are all champs from round 1. So the mission now is seeing which 2 have what it takes to climb even higher into round 3. We're separating the greats from the truly exceptional, quest-worthy albums.
And wow, what a group. Talk about a clash of styles. Just listen to this lineup.
It's wild.
We got Avril Lavigne's Let Go, that huge 2002 pop-punk debut.
Yeah, pure early 2000s energy.
Then from the same year, Xzibit's Man of Ease Machine West Coast Hip Hop, big production.
Heavy hitters involved there.
Then we jump back to 87, Fleetwood Mac, Tango in the Night, classic rock royalty.
Lush, sophisticated stuff.
And finally, the Titan. Tupac's greatest hits, that massive 1998 double album collection.
Yeah, just a monster of a release. Pop punk, hip hop, classic rock, all duping it out.
It's a fantastic mix. You've got, like, the end of an era for Fleetwood Mac in that lineup.
Right, their last album with that classic configuration.
Up against Avril's explosive start, and then
Yeah.
2 absolute giants of West Coast hip-hop. Not just fighting each other, but also these genre outliers.
It makes for a really unpredictable dynamic. Only 2 can go through.
Which leads us perfectly into the title for this album quest analysis, which kind of gives the game away based on the source material we're looking at. Xzibit has to let go while Tupac gets mystified by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, that sums up the drama nicely.
It does. But before we get to the final verdict, we really need to set the stage. We need to look at how these albums got here. What battles did they win in round 1?
Definitely. Understanding their round 1 wins, their resumes, if you like, really puts the toughness of this Group 16 into perspective. These weren't easy paths.
Okay, let's start with Fleetwood Mac then, since they came out on top in this round. Tango in the Night. How did it get through round 1?
Well, according to the notes, it qualified pretty comfortably from its group, which was Group 23.
Comfortably. But who did it beat?
Not exactly lightweights. It knocked out Iron Maiden's Virtual Xi, maybe not their most beloved, but still Maiden.
Right.
Alanis Morissette's So-Called Chaos, a big 90s follow-up album, and Mike and the Mechanics.
So, metal, alternative rock. Tango just sailed past them.
Yeah, came in first. That tells you something about its immediate appeal and, maybe more importantly, its consistency. It just works, listen after listen, regardless of what you usually go for.
Okay, that sets a high bar. Now, what about the album that caused, well, a bit of a stir? Avril Lavigne's Let Go.
Ah, yes. Group 58. This was a big one.
Because the competition was fierce, right? People were surprised she won that group.
Extremely fierce. Think about this. Let Go finished ahead of REM's Automatic for the People.
Wow, okay. Automatic for the People is considered a masterpiece.
Exactly. And it also beat Robbie Williams' huge debut, Life Through a Lens, and Def Leppard's monster 80s album, Hysteria.
That really says something about this whole album quest process, doesn't it? It's not about reputation.
Not at all. It's about the actual listening experience, repeated over and over. If an album, even a classic, has tracks that start to grate on you by the 3rd or 4th listen...
It's vulnerable.
Precisely. So Let Go clearly has some kind of secret weapon in terms of just being consistently enjoyable, track after track. Maybe that initial shock shouldn't have been such a shock.
Fair point. Okay, let's turn to the hip-hop contenders. They both had tough routes, too. Tupac's greatest hits.
Right. Group 98 for Tupac. Now, this one came in 2nd place in its group.
Oh, interesting. Who beat it?
This was a bit of a surprise, too, actually. Marillion's live album, The Thieving Magpie.
Okay, prog rock taking the top spot there. But who did Tupac eliminate?
This is key. It knocked out Amy Winehouse's Back to Black.
Huge album, incredibly consistent, usually.
Right. And even more dramatically, it knocked out another Tupac album, Are You Still Down?
Whoa. So a Tupac collection knocked out another Tupac studio album and Amy Winehouse.
Yep. Cannibalized its own catalog sibling, you could say. brutal.
Yeah.
But it shows the strength of that greatest hits package, even if it didn't win its group outright.
Okay, and the final contender, Xzibit Man vs. Machine.
Group 160. Similar story to Tupac, actually. Came in second place.
Who got first?
U2's Octung, baby. Can't argue with that one, really.
No, that's a monster.
Yeah.
But Xzibit still had to beat some decent competition to get that second spot.
For sure. It eliminated This Is the Sea by the Waterboys, classic 80s band. And Panic. At the disco's debut, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out.
Another big debut out. So yeah, looking at those round one results, every single album in this Group 16 earned its place. No easy ride for anyone.
Exactly. This is genuinely the elite stage of the quest. Which brings us to the actual head-to-head battle in Group 16 and some of the practical problems that started cropping up.
Right. This is where the specific methodology of the album quest really threw a wrench in the works, according to the notes.
Yeah, particularly having two hip-hop albums drawn together, Tupac and Xzibit.
The reviewer called it a logistical nightmare. Just finding the time, the right environment to do those mandatory back-to-back listens.
It highlights something interesting, doesn't it, about how we actually listen to music, especially certain genres, in our daily lives.
Definitely. You know, the notes mention the specific first world problem
Yeah.
of not being able to blast tracks like Tupac's 2 of America's Most Wanted during the school run.
Right. It sounds trivial, but it points to a real constraint. It's not just about explicit lyrics. Sometimes it's the aggression, the volume, the sheer length.
Yeah, 2 hours for the Tupac album.
Exactly. You can't just casually squeeze that in while you're doing other things if you've got family around or specific time constraints. You need dedicated, maybe even isolated listening time.
And if finding that time becomes a chore, well, it might unconsciously affect how you judge the album, right? You might start looking for flaws just to speed things up.
It's possible. It definitely seems to have framed the experience for both hip-hop albums here. Let's start with Tupac's greatest hits.
Described as an almighty collection. Basically all the big tracks from his, well, tragically short career.
Yeah, the quality is undeniable. I mean, the sheer volume of brilliant material across 2 hours is staggering, but that length? It's a blessing and a curse in this format.
Let's focus on the strengths first, though. The reviewer really praised his range.
Oh, absolutely. It goes from that really smooth R&B influenced hip hop to hardcore gangster rap, and he handles it all incredibly well.
Called him a tremendously good rapper.
Technically brilliant, and the notes make a really interesting point about his style, describing it as fairly melodic and rhythmic.
What does that mean exactly in this context?
Well, it means his flow, his cadence. It has its own musicality. It's not just about the words, it's how he delivers them. It works with the beat.
Right.
So tracks like Trapped or I Get Around or Picture Me Rollin',
Right.
they become, as the reviewer put it, mesmerizing. You get locked into that rhythm of his voice and the story he's telling.
That's high praise for consistency and delivery, even across different styles. But then there's that endurance issue.
Yeah, the 2-hour runtime. The notes are blunt. It became hard work to finish it in one sitting for the judging.
That's tough for a format that demands exactly that full, repeated listens.
And it raises that question about compilation albums in general for this quest. The highs are incredibly high, no doubt. You got California Love.
Classic Dre production. Total party track.
Right. You've got the storytelling on Brenda's Got a Baby, the clinical skill on Troublesome.
And then there's Hit 'Em Up.
Yeah, Hit 'Em Up.
Okay, we have to talk about that one. A track that aggressive, that historically loaded with the whole East Coast, West Coast beef.
Yeah.
How does something like the album quest even process that? Does the controversy matter?
In this specific quest, not directly. The judgment, according to the notes, is purely on the listening experience right now, repeated listens.
So sonically.
Sonically, it's powerful. Historically, it's massive. But does that raw aggression make you want to hit repeat immediately for the 4th time in a row? Maybe not. It adds to that feeling of it being hard work, part of that logistical nightmare.
Okay, so even the masterpieces contribute to the fatigue factor because of the intensity or context.
Potentially, yeah. And it means the weaker moments, the ones the reviewer did want to skip, they stand out even more.
And the critique gets quite specific about those moments.
It does. There's mention of unnecessary wailing on some tracks, maybe guest vocals or ad-libs that just didn't land after repetition.
Right.
But the harshest criticism, it was reserved for the track that samples Bruce Hornsby's The Way It Is.
Oh, changes. Yeah.
The reviewer literally called it the murdering of the original song.
Wow. That's strong language.
Very strong. And look, Despite Tupac's genius, despite the sheer number of incredible tracks on this collection, those specific moments, those points of friction, they add up.
But hang on, are we saying a couple of less than perfect tracks, maybe some wailing and one sample choice the reviewer hated, are enough to drag down 2 hours of brilliance, especially against a debut album?
That really gets to the heart of this quest's logic, doesn't it? Because you have to listen to the whole thing back to back. Those minor annoyances just get magnified.
It's Suster.
Exactly. And a greatest hits collection, almost by definition, lacks the narrative flow, the deliberate arc of a well-crafted studio album. The filler, or the tracks that don't quite fit, they just feel more exposed.
So the length and the compilation format ultimately worked against it here.
It seems so. Okay, let's look at the other hip-hop album, Xzibit's Man vs. Machine. On paper, this one maybe should have done even better.
You'd think so? The review acknowledges it's a well-produced hip-hop record. I mean, look who worked on it.
Right. You've got Dr. Dre, Eminem, Nate Dogg, Snoop Dogg. That's like the 2002 hip-hop Avengers assembled.
The expectations must have been sky high.
Totally. And Dre's influence is apparently all over it.
Yeah, the notes mention his track, Symphony in X Major, as being like the blueprint for the whole album's sound.
Describe that sound again.
Serious rapping, but with a kind of lighter touch, definite pop appeal. That slick, early 2000s commercially geared sound.
Okay, so designed for broad appeal. And some tracks clearly hit that mark.
Yeah, Multiply, Heart of Man, that's the one with the Toto Africa sample.
Oh, right. Can't miss that one.
Am Losing Your Mind. They're called out as sounding really sharp, commercially polished.
And it had some big moments, right? The source notes talked about a kind of battle for the best track.
Yeah, between Choke Me, Spank Me, Pull My Hair.
Okay.
Which sounds, well, like it sounds. And the Eminem feature, My Name Is.
Which wasn't My Name Is the song, but a track called My Name Is featuring Eminem.
Exactly. Described as being very typical Eminem from that 2000-2003 peak era. Like, could have been on the 8 Mile soundtrack, raw energy, technical skill.
Gotcha. And that track also featured Nate Dogg, didn't it? Adding to that school run problem.
Oh, yeah. The notes highlight Nate Dogg's chorus as being slightly comical, but also, well, very explicit.
What was the line again?
Put your nuts on the table. Let's play the game.
Right. Okay. Definitely not playing that one loud with the windows down near a playground.
No. So you've got these high points, the star power, the big production, yet Xzibit finished dead last. 4th place. What went wrong?
It seems to boil down to consistency again. Or rather, a lack of it.
After those big opening tracks.
Exactly. The reviewer felt that after the star-studded contributions, the quality just dropped off. Too many tracks fell flat, and worse, they became irksome on repeat listens.
Irksome. That's the killer word in this quest, isn't it?
It really is. That moment, a track goes from meh to, not this again. That's fatal.
But still, with Dre and Eminem involved.
Yeah.
How does the quality control fail that badly? Shouldn't their presence alone have guaranteed at least 3rd place, maybe bumping Tupac down?
You'd think so. But maybe they provide the peaks and the rest of the album just couldn't sustain that level. The notes specifically call out some weaker tracks near the end, like Enemies and Break Yourself, saying they got annoying fast.
Okay, but was there one track that really sealed its fate? The 4th place killer.
Oh, yes. According to the reviewer, that was Missin' You.
Ah, the description for this one was memorable.
Viscerally negative, yeah. The source uses the phrase god-awful wailing.
And compared it to somebody who had put an injured cat through auto-tune.
Oof, yeah, that's not good.
Not good at all. And an image like that, it sticks with you. It makes it almost impossible to ignore when you're forced to listen again and again. It just poisons the well for the whole album. So one really bad track can torpedo the whole thing in this format.
It seems it can, especially if the rest of the album isn't consistently strong enough to compensate.
Okay, so if Tupac's problem was maybe sprawl and a few rough edges on a brilliant canvas, Xzibit's was more like a promising start followed by a significant dip in quality control.
That sums it up pretty well, I think. Both ultimately lacked that seamless, effortless consistency needed to beat the top 2 in this group.
Which brings us to the point of, let's say, potential debate. The big surprise, maybe.
The moment Avril Lavigne overtakes Tupac.
Exactly. The reviewer knew this would raise eyebrows, especially with hip-hop fans. Let Go ranked above Greatest Hits. And the notes say very clearly, I make no apologies for shamelessly enjoying Let Go as an album experience slightly more than Tupac's collection.
It was close, though. The phrasing used is that Let Go barely scrapes in above it.
Okay, so a photo finish.
Yeah.
But what was the justification? Why did the teen pop-punk debut edge out the rap icons legacy collection?
It comes down to the experience under the Quest's rules. Structure, length, execution. Avril was only 18, right?
Yeah, just starting out.
But the album, from track 1, Losing Grip, apparently shows us she means business.
How so? What about the structure?
Well, it starts kind of edgy, you know. Losing Grip is described as angsty, grunge, light. Then you get the more punk-light stuff like Skater Boy and Unwanted.
Okay, so leet versions, meaning radio-friendly but still with attitude.
Exactly. Very early 2000s pop formula. But the clever part, according to the review, is that it doesn't just stay there, it pivots.
Avoids listener fatigue.
Right. It opens up into this really melodic, poppy, sing-along experience. And the songs themselves are seen as genuinely credible, well-written pop songs. Mobile, Things I'll Never Say, and the massive one, Complicated.
Can't escape complicated.
Nope. And the reviewer praises her voice as solid, authentic, and the production and musicianship as professional and workmanlike. It's just solid.
So compared to Tupac had the undeniable genius, the historical weight, the sheer volume of amazing tracks. But Avril had focus, consistency.
And brevity. Let's not forget that. Let Go is, what, 45 minutes maybe?
Compared to 2 hours for Tupac, yeah, big difference.
So by the time you're starting to feel the length and the few weaker moments on the Tupac album, Avril's already delivered her punchy, consistent statement, and she's done. No fatigue sets in.
And what was the defining factor, the little extra something that tipped the balance?
The reviewer summed it up as this blend of courageous innocence and melodic, naive appeal.
Okay.
When you put that feeling that's concise, charming, easy to listen to, repeatedly experience up against the huge, demanding, sometimes flawed sprawl of the greatest hits.
The easier, more seamless listen won out. Just barely.
Just barely. It's a victory for consistent enjoyment over monumental but occasionally difficult brilliance, specifically within this back-to-back listening context.
It really underscores how much things like structure and runtime matter in this specific album Quest format. Maybe more than individual classic tracks spread too thin.
Seems that way. The shorter, tighter album just gives you fewer chances to get annoyed, basically.
Now, speaking of listening closely, there was that weird musical connection the reviewer noticed. Only because they were listening to these 4 albums so intensely together.
Oh, yeah. This was a fascinating little detail tucked away in the notes.
Between Avril Lavigne and Tupac.
Specifically, Avril's track Nobody's Fool apparently seems to copy a distinct rhythmic thing called a step-up motif from Tupac's I Get Around.
A step-up motif, what is that?
It's like a little musical phrase, often in the bass or rhythm, where the notes or accents kind of climb upwards, gives it a certain drive.
So not like a direct sample, but a similar rhythmic idea or pattern.
Exactly. Linking early 2000s Canadian pop-punk with 90s West Coast G-funk.
That's unexpected.
Totally. The reviewer even wondered, maybe she's a fan. Who knows if it was deliberate, subconscious, or just pure coincidence.
But it shows how deep the listening went, finding these little threads.
Definitely. Okay, so we've dealt with the controversy, the close calls. Now for the undisputed champion of Group 16.
Fleetwood Mac. Tango in the Night. The win here wasn't close, was it?
Not at all. Unanimous first place. And the praise was just off the charts.
Including that huge, potentially inflammatory statement the reviewer apparently made years ago.
Ah, yes. The claim that Tango in the Night is actually a better album than Rumors.
Which is fighting words for a lot of music fans. Rumors is practically sacred.
It is. The Chain, Dreams, Go Your Own Way. It's untouchable for many. So yeah, claiming Tango surpasses it. You need some serious backup for that.
And the source material tries to provide it, right?
Yeah.
Focusing on the sound, the production.
Absolutely. The language used is really evocative. It calls Tango a sumptuous album.
Sumptuous. Nice.
And technically, it talks about a perfect blending of layered melodic cascades and gently tumbling harmonies, stuff that just seeps through your speakers.
Okay, so really focusing on that polished, layered sound. How does that compare to Rumors?
Well, Rumors has that raw, immediate, almost live in the studio feel, reflecting all the personal chaos going on. Tango is different. It's much more a product of the studio as an instrument, especially Lindsey Buckingham's influence.
Synthesizers, effects, layering.
Exactly. Lots of synthesized textures, reverb, intricate vocal arrangements. It's incredibly polished. But the argument is that the polish enhances the emotion rather than hides it. It creates this smooth, almost dreamlike atmosphere.
And the reviewer felt the songs themselves matched that sonic depth.
Yeah.
Calling the lyrics and music romantic and tragic and sensual, all at once.
It suggests an album that works on multiple levels. Catchy songs, yes, but also this deep emotional resonance and complex sound design that just gets better the more you listen, perfect for the album quest's demands.
And it delivered consistently across the whole album. Any specific tracks highlighted for excellence?
Oh, yeah. The analysis went deep. For instance, on Family Man, the notes point out the beautiful flamenco guitar.
Flamenco. On a Fleetwood Mac track.
Unexpected, right. But it adds this layer of darkness and complexity, showing they were still experimenting within that polished framework.
Okay. What about the big hits? Like Everywhere.
That one's described almost like a physical sensation. The enveloping harp-like synth wrapping around you. It's about creating a total mood, a perfect sound world.
And Little Lies.
Praised for the vocal harmony and just its overall crafted perfection. Like every single piece is exactly in the right place. It's pop songwriting refined to an art form.
Even the deeper cuts got praise.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks' track Caroline is mentioned for its tribal percussion and sensuality. It shows there's rhythmic depth and variety too, keeping the album engaging all the way through.
So putting it all together, the description is of a top-draw effort from this tortured supergroup. But there's that historical context too, right?
Absolutely crucial. This was it, the last album featuring that iconic lineup. Buckingham, Nicks, Christine McVie, John McVie, Mick Fleetwood, all 5 of them together for the final time in the studio.
Wow, so it really was a swan song.
A magnificent one. They didn't fade away. They delivered this incredibly polished, emotionally rich, sonically stunning masterpiece. It just blew the competition away in this group.
The sound of a band hitting one last synthesized perfect peak before it all fractured again.
Exactly. And maybe that focused perfection, that consistent, luxurious listening experience is why, under the intense scrutiny of the album quest, the reviewer felt it even surpassed the raw, legendary chaos of Rumors.
Makes sense in this context.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up. The final official rankings for round 2, Group 16, are locked in.
Yep. The tally confirms it all.
Fleetwood Mac, Tango in the Night.
Avril Lavigne, Let Go.
A close one.
Very close.
Tupac, Greatest Hits. And number 4, Xzibit, Man vs. Machine.
So Fleetwood Mac and Avril Lavigne move on to round 3. The 2 hip-hop giants are out, despite their strengths.